Hi, thank you for coming to the IPM seminar. My name is Marco Peña. I'm an associate in extension, work here at the UMA Ag Center, and I wanted to present some data on alfalfa, some trials that we did on alfalfa and on teff grass. First, on the shepherd spurs, some fields in the Yuma County have been showing like the possible resistant populations of shepherd spurs to this product. They like this particular field survived an application of imazamox, which is Raptor, and imacetapir pursuit at 3 ounces plus 3 ounces in oil, and it absolutely did not show very good control. This was done in 2022, and then we observed this, and then we did another trial in this year, which I'm going to show you. But I wanted to mention that you see the seed right in the center of the screen. That was collected from one plant, and that is, I don't know if you can look at the bubble right there where my face is. This is one plant of shepherd spurs, and interesting that yeah, the seed pod is a heart shaped, and that's kind of why it's called the shepherd spurs, because some of the shepherds in the 1800s used to do their bags, their purses were in the shape of human organs, sometimes kidney shaped, or in this case heart shaped. So there's a lot of seed that can imagine the number of seeds that we can get in our field with the field like this. Looking at this field, we know that something happened. There was a problem in with the application, or something happened here. We decided to replicate the same treatments that the grower applied, but we knowing that it's too late, we wanted to just see. This was done in 2022. The idea was to look if there was a response, if any response from the same treatments that were applied. And then I included also the Valpar treatment, and that was the idea. So from left to right, here on the display in the truck, here on the left is a pursuit that did not present a lot of phytotoxicity from the treatment. And the next one, the combination of 3 ounces plus 3 ounces of pursuit Raptor, NIS, and AMS. Again, you can see some phytotoxicity, but nothing completely that showed aggressive. We used to kill this, and I remember that it worked really well, but in this particular case something happened. I don't know if it's a population that's been developing here. We collected seed from here and we sent to the Maricopa Ag Center. And then the Valpar, you could tell that it did some activity, but also the alfalfa showed some phytotoxicity, and of course the untreated on the right. We established a trial in a field like this. You can see that the amount of shepherd spurs that we see right there at the bottom, all sizes of shepherd spurs that we had. Some fields like this. In a similar field like this, we established a trial, and we put this treatments. In this case, Raptor Pursuit NAS, and then Raptor Pursuit plus Butirac 200 at this rate right here, 3 ounces plus 3 ounces plus 2 quarts of Butirac and 25% of NIS. And then we went down on the rate of Valpar, but we applied Valpar with Carmex, 2 pints plus 1.5 pounds. We sprayed Chato, which is flumioxazine. It's a contact, but it has a good pre-emergence activity. We put Sharpen, a contact product specifically, plus Raptor, plus methylated seed oil and ammonium sulfate, and then we included Sencor, and then Ali and Gramoxin. Some of these treatments we knew that we were going to get really aggressive response. Like, for example, of course we know that Gramoxin is going to burn this. We're going to be losing a cutting in that section of that we established a trial. Sharpen Raptor, of course, is going to see it. This was a high rate because we wanted to eliminate all of this weeds, shepherd's purse, and then coming back with the clean crop on the next evaluation, and then the chateau also it was we knew from before spraying that it was going to be an aggressive treatment. So there it is. We established the trial, and as you can see on this left square here, we had all different sizes of the shepherd's purse. So here, this is phytotoxicity 4 days after treatment. We came back 4 days after the I sprayed, and then came back 4 days later. And we noticed, interestingly, that the Raptor Pursuit plus NIS did not show very high phytotoxicity. This is to the alfalfa, to the crop. Didn't show any phyto to the, really pretty close to zero, as you can see right here. Pretty close to zero phytotoxicity. And the Raptor and Pursuit, same product, but with the addition of the Butarac, showed considerably more phytotoxicity, and not very aggressive. Valpar Carmex was the next one with some pretty close to around 10% phytotoxicity. And then of course the treatments that we mentioned earlier that we know that they were gonna be aggressive. You can see that the Chateau Butarac was MSO, methylated seed oil. We wanted to kill that shepherd's purse, but of course we knew that we were going to see some damage, and that is exactly the treatment that you see right here in this area right here. From the red flag on, you see the Chateau plus Butarac, and the next one is the Sharpen to your left. So those are aggressive treatments, and then we'll see how they perform. Senker, it was amazing to me because I remember Senker used to be kind of an aggressive. We tested this on wheat, and it showed aggressivity, and it so showed some aggressiveness. I'm sorry, and then good control on canary grass and broadleaves, goosefoot on wheat, but in this case it didn't show a lot of phytotoxicity at this point at the 4 day after 4 days. The allium gramoxone is expected 100% burning on all those crops and the untreated. This is the way they look close by when opening the crop. Took an image right there. As you can observe here, this is again the same day, the 4 day evaluation. The Raptor Pursuit did not show a lot of activity, as you can see, and the Raptor Pursuit plus Butarac was a little bit different. This is the Raptor Pursuit. You see that how green the little plants are. They look perfectly happy, and the on the Raptor Pursuit plus Butarac, you can see some browning and some of the necrosis and some of those plants. But as you can see, this some of the leaves turning brown, and this is early at 4 day. Here we can see two bars: the green bar, which represents the weed control, and the brown bar represents phytotoxicity. On treatment number 1, Raptor Pursuit plus NIS, you see that there was no weed control or no phytotoxicity. So it was interesting to me that the product alone with NIS, maybe I should have added some kind of an oil, the methylated seed oil, but this is what happened without methylated seed oil. We didn't see no activity. But on treatment 2, this is absolutely the same product, and then with the addition of Butarac, weed control went all the way up to 60% with about 15% phytotoxicity. So it was an interesting change. So a tool with the addition of Butarac it was totally a different combination. And then we have the Bell Park Carmex. Bell Park, uh, which we used in the year before, and we saw some activity, really good activity on shepherd spurs. This is all shepherd spurs. This is an evaluation on shepherd spurs, and we had about close to 90% weed control with the Carmex, and the Carmex itself it has some activity on shepherd spurs and London Rocket, lamb's quarters, goosewood, and it helps with south thistle too, which is a hard to kill weed, and some grass activity too on it, like one supposedly with the annual bluegrass. I haven't seen that performance, but that's what it's recommended for. And on Chateau plus Butirac, Chateau showed really aggressive. This is what is it? Flumioxazin. It's really like a contact, but has uh, pre-emergence activity. And the Butirac, a plant growth regulator. This combination was also very aggressive, but of course the weed control was good. Same as Sharpen, because we apply a high rate of Sharpen plus Raptor, and to see the combination. Sinker, I was expecting more from this product, and it didn't really perform as I was expecting. I've seen it in wheat and doing good on goose food, and I remember killing canary grass with it too. And but in this case, this is what we saw, like about 20 some percent of control, and probably 5% phytotoxicity. The allium, gramoxone, this indaciflam pre-emergence activity a little bit. With the gramoxone burned everything, and the idea was to come back about a month later to see if we could see any pre-emergence activity, if any differences in that. And of course, we always had it untreated, which was absolutely no control. Like I mentioned earlier, we wanted to come back about a month later to see if we see any differences or any activity from the pre-emergence activity of some of these products that I mentioned earlier. And the crop looked like you can see on the left, no sign of any of the burned down products that we put in. Where there was gramoxone, where there's Sharpen and all that, you couldn't see the difference. It was just beautiful alfalfa. I mean, the whole thing really great. But when I started checking, I knew exactly my plots because I marked them with a nail with some orange material on top, and I knew exactly where my plots, my replications are. I went back and I checked the untreated, and everything was the same. And something happened right there. I believe they chemicated something into the crop. So then, because I couldn't see differences from the untreated to my plots, and so I didn't collect any data. But I kept of course the plots are I know the location of the plots, and I'm planning on coming back to look if there is any pigweed or purslane, some of the summer weeds, or to look at the pre-emergence activity of some of these products, such as Chateau. And then there was this situation with the Malva parviflora on alfalfa. It was a field. It was an area, part of a field, part of this field that was covered completely with Malva, and it was an interesting call. And the question was, what do we do? I actually, on the right, you can see that I had to open the crop in order to see the alfalfa. So it was completely covered. Obviously, something happened here, some extreme situation that things that happened in the field, and it went out of control. The question was, should I spray right now the Raptor Pursuit, which works really well on Malva parviflora, or we wait, we do a cutting and then put it on, or Sharpen. Sharpen works extremely good at burning, or the contact type of herbicides work really well on this weed. And so that was the question. And And we want to look at some of the alfalfa that was harvested previously, and in one of those and some of those the huge 800-pounder bales. You could see the stems of the malva, these pretty thick stems, and according to the broker, this some people were saying that the cattle got some symptoms, the stomach problems. So we decided to go invest. I just did a quick, a Google thing. I checked the Google, and I said, what's the analysis of Malva parviflora leaves? And apparently they have 36.2% of protein, 12.4% carbohydrates, and soluble fiber 4.2%. So this has some protein in there, and then the seeds contain considerable amounts of antioxidants. So, okay. Then Malva parviflora is an important part of the human diet in some places of Morocco, and they eat the young shoots and the young leaves. So apparently they have some use for it. But according to something reported in Australia, that the Malva parviflora could be harmful to livestock if they eat like about 1.4 to 5.5 kilograms a day of this weed. It's hard for to have your cattle, your livestock eat what is it, like 12 pounds of malva a day, and then in addition, with stress on the livestock, they could get the Stagger's disease in sheep and horses, and they get like little convulsions, and it's not a pretty picture. But so there's something to consider, and then it's considered a noxious weed in Canada. That's another set of information. So, what was the question? Do we spray right now, or do we cut and spray later? This product, Raptor Pursuit plus AMS in this case, and MSO. Sharpen plus AMS and MSO, which are very effective when this weed's small. When it could do a good job. So we did both. We sprayed it before and after. As you can see right here, they cut the rest of the field, and they left a little area for us to do a trial. And so we sprayed like you see on the right. We sprayed the way it was, and then after cutting, we sprayed the alfalfa. But this was interesting because he sprayed it immediately after cutting, and I kind of rigged the alfalfa to one side and then just put the application. And I know that there would be the idea was to put it out as soon as possible, because some guys were suggesting that we need to leave the malva alone for some time to develop new leaves, and then hit it with the sharpen in order to get good results, or the Rapid Pursuit. So we tried it immediately too. So we did an application over the top on that old malva, and then an application immediately after cutting. And on the old malva, there it is, Raptor Pursuit for AMS and MSO. This is 20 days after the application, and as you can see, it only turned it yellow, the chlorotic, and those little red margins on the leaves that are characteristics of the imazamox and imacetopyr, this type of products, because a little bit of a redness and chlorosis. So it would have been a waste of money to put Raptor Pursuit, AMS, and MSO when the weeds were like that, because at this point they would have cut the alfalfa, and they would have spent the money on it and have all this material still in your bale. So So it was a good idea to cut the alfalfa because, as you can see on the background right there, then it started developing clean with the new herbicide program. Same thing with the sharpen. The sharpen was very aggressive 20 days after, and but I checked, and then on the top, whatever was touched with the sharpen, it was dead. But if we went in there under the alfalfa, you can see the alfalfa there. Uh, there's the actual the malva was still green at the bottom there under there was protected by the alfalfa. So the only difference here is that on the left, I believe the seed on the cheeseweed, the seed got developed, and on the sharpen, because of the burning activity, it just stopped the developing of the seed, and that's what that's the only thing that could be beneficial in this case. But of course, this is an extreme situation. I mean, usually we don't get to this point, but it's good to develop this information just in case. And what about the one we sprayed immediately after cutting? Okay, this is the one we sprayed immediately after cutting. So this is a 3-day evaluation, and it of course sharpen is aggressive, but you know, you just cut the alfalfa. You didn't have a lot of foliage there. You didn't lose much, but you could see that malva stems were getting brown and were getting like affected by the application of the sharpen, AMS and MSO. And the Raptor Pursuit, a little bit of activity. Well, yeah, you could see that there was some activity, but and less activity, less phytotoxicity on the alfalfa too. Okay, this is 20 days later. As you can see, sharpen completely killed those malva plants, and then the Raptor Pursuit, we got survivors. Let's look at this closer. I came back after this evaluation, and this malva was completely necrotic, black, dead, totally dead. And the Raptor Pursuit, some kills, but not. They didn't die. They had the opportunity to recover. And as you can see, just those symptoms, that little bit of a redness and chlorosis, which with the competition of the alfalfa untreated, of course, was growing like very actively, and it was already on top of the crop in some of those sections. Then I wanted to present some data on teff grass, this summer grass that is planted in between lettuce seasons. We did this with the support of Corteva, and we tested several products, including Simplicity, which was the main evaluation. The application was done on April 29. So these are the treatments that we put on the teff grass. We put Simplicity 1X with activator, Simplicity 2X 13.5 plus activator, Osprey 475 plus activator, and then we put ET 2 ounces with silicone spreader. And then I didn't have clarity in the storage, so I went to Vanbo, which is the same dicamba molecule plus NIS. 3-day evaluation. The Bamba looked really good. The typical activity of a plant growth regulator, the epinasty, the plants getting all curly, pointing down, and so we could see that it was performing immediately. And then ET. This product, I mean, was really impressive on a 3-day evaluation. We had 100% control. I thought it was the population was not consistent because I couldn't see any purslane on a 3-day evaluation. So I was thinking, I doubted. So I go, did I make a mistake here? And no, it killed the whole thing. I did an inspection, and I found areas like this where it was just smoked the purslane at the right time, the application. And then of course we had the Simplicity 1X and the 2X. They pretty much look the same. Some symptoms, some chlorosis, and and it works slowly. But to make long story short, all of these products achieved 100% control of the purslane, but just at some at a different timing. Some work slower than the other ones, and some help with the help of the competition of the Teff grass. They we had good control, and that's the untreated. So here's the purslane control. From we can see from the simplicity, the low rate, which I to abbreviate, I just call it simplicity one. You see on the first evaluation date how small the little square, the little brown bar, and then the green bar, and then it was a progressive weed control. Slowly achieved all the way to, and on 520 you can see that it was 100% control. So it achieved really good weed control. Osprey also a little bit slower than that, but it also achieved the good purslane control. But in the case of the ET, that product, the purslane weed control was immediately after on a 3-day evaluation, and then just the crop continued growing, and there was a little bit of burning, as we'll see a little later. There was a little tip burning with the ET, but the weed control was from the very beginning. It was good. The Banville, like I showed you earlier, showed the symptoms immediately, the weed control, and then continue until it reached 100% control. Worked a little slower than ET, but they all obtain at the end the green, the green bar, 100% weed control. So this is in relation to the purslane weed control. So now here, looking at the plant height. Plant height could be part of the phytotoxicity, but phytotoxicity could include other things in addition to the plant height. This is specifically plant height, and like I mentioned earlier, the height on the height was taken by making an average of each plot, taking 5 plant measurings. We measured 5 plants. I measured 5 plants from each plot, and the plots were replicated several times. So this is a number that represents the height of the whole plot. And again, long story short, at the end of the final evaluation, the gray section right here, you can see that the simplicity plots were like 21.2, 20.5 versus 21.2 versus 22.5, which the untreated. So there was some stunting, a little bit plant height difference, but nothing bad if you compare it with the weed control that you achieved. Same thing with the simplicity 2, which was a little bit more aggressive. But the Osprey, the plant height was really affected. 16.4 at the end at the final evaluation versus 22. There's a little, quite a bit of a difference. And the ET and the Banville did not show very big difference in between. I mean, with the untreated. So this is showing that ET and Banville did not show a lot of reduction in plant height. But then again, the Banville or dicamba molecule, Clarity is a product that's been used. It has the limitation of the volatility. If you have some other crop that you don't want to damage, that's when this other products, and I'm talking specifically about the simplicity, which has a 24C registration for Teff grass. So that's what it is. When you have a problem where volatility could cause a problem, then you have this other tool right now. On the phytotoxicity to Teff grass, in this case, like I mentioned earlier, plant height could be part of the phytotoxicity, but phytotoxicity includes other burning, chlorosis, and the other aspects that we just totalized in here. And talking about phytotoxicity, of course, the untreated, the green line has no phytotoxicity because nothing was sprayed. And the banvel is exactly looks like nothing affected the teff grass. The teff grass didn't show any phytotoxicity in this particular trial. ET showed some tip burning, but it went down and then disappeared on the third evaluation date. And the simplicity rate 1 and rate 2, 1x and 2x, you can say, they're right there in the middle, and you can see that it showed some phytotoxicity, and then I don't know why it looks like we have a intermediate phytotoxicity here that goes down. It just the crop, it's temporary phytotoxicity shown, and it's on the label that you have like a 10% kind of phytotoxicity. So it is something that we have to consider on the application, but then make a balance of your weed control, which is good, and a little bit of a plant height reduction. But if you're gonna have a clean crop and no volatility like the dicamba or clarity, and then that's the balance that we all have to make. And on the top you see that the Osprey showed a lot more phytotoxicity in this trial. This is a plot of Osprey right there in the center. This, as you can see, it was irrigated by that it was irrigated, but you can see that there's quite a good difference in height. On the right, the red flag there to the right, it is ET. So even though it's a contact and kill the weeds, the broadleaves readily, which is the purslane, it killed it right away, but the plant height was not reduced at all. And then to the left right here, you can see there's some of the simplicity plots to the left. But right there from the orange flag to the red in between, that is Osprey. So some final comments. Under our trial conditions in alfalfa, there is a possibility that we have some resistant populations to the imidazolinones from the shepherd's press, and we're going to be doing some greenhouse evaluations. We also noticed that the addition of Butyrag 200 increased the efficacy of Raptor and Pursuit, the mix. And then Chatos, Sharpen, Gramoxone, those are burden down products. I mean, we use them and they kill the 3 or 4 inches shepherd's press. We kind of, but it's just in case you want to do a cleaning and then lose a cutting too. You got to make a balance. Some pretty large plants, mature plants, were controlled by Sharpen 2 ounces and AMS and MSO, spraying Sharpen immediately after cutting. And I think that was interesting that we were able to kill those mature plants. On the Teff, Simplicity showed a little bit of a temporary injury. Osprey showed more injury than Simplicity. Bamba and Clarity showed less injury, but as we know, the Clarity molecule, we have the volatility concerns. ET showed some tip burning on the teff grass, but there was no stunting of the crop. The crop continued developing, except that the tips where they will show some symptoms, some burning. On the purslane control, Simplicity, Bamba, and Osprey ET all show good efficacy on it. ET is faster than all the products killed, and Bamba, they both kill the weeds faster. Specifically, purslane faster than Simplicity and Osprey. But then again, there's the balance. You want volatility, don't use Clarity. You want you need another option. There is the Simplicity available right now. So here's a few questions for your consideration. The following products control mobile parviflora. It's B and C, Trevex and Sharpen. Which one of those products control purslane? ET, Simplicity, and dicamba, all of them. have an effect and perform well. On the simplicity label that we have, is this true or false? There is no possibility of crop injury. False. There is possibility of temporary crop injury, which the crop recovers. I wanted to conclude with an invitation to subscribe to the Vegetable IPM Updates newsletter. And if you have any questions, if we can go and establish a trial out in your field that you want to do some testing, let me know. Send me a message to this email right there, markup@ag.arizona.edu, and I'll come and spray something, and we maybe we'll find a solution for the problem. Thank you for your attention, and you have a good day.